Doug and Anne are really talented, they're mission-oriented, and they appreciate the impact that writing and literacy have on society. They're committed to furthering that, and that's what they do.
They're both about the story. They both have a really keen eye and a rigid sense of ethics, and they edit each other, and they talk stories all the time.
This kind of, it sounds corny, but this kind of soul work, you know, they believe in it. They believe in the literal power of a word. And they make people listen. And not only do they make people listen, they may make people actually do something that really hopes to make the world a better place.
I got to know Anne because she wrote a very good investigative story about a local issue that will remain nameless, because she did it several times. But she was always out in front on very interesting community stories.
Anne doesn't miss anything. And I know that Anne knows how to dig because I know how she answers. She asks questions. She's almost prosecutorial. There's nothing mean in it, but I think that's really courageous. She's not afraid of anything, and that courage is vital. It's really important.
Anne is willing to take on a mission, and Anne is willing to do whatever it takes to get it done. She is tireless, she builds a team, and she stays on point, and she makes it happen. Doug is really smart.
I mean, I kid him. I call him Mr. Know-It-All, because you can ask him almost any question about literature or movies, and he's got the answer.
A lot of people probably don't know that he's a really fine poet. I love Doug's poems. He doesn't write a lot of them, but when he does, they're absolutely gorgeous poems. He understands the power of a word through the power of a poem. I mean, you can't get a shorter thing than a poem to convey meaning. Doug Stanton knows how to write a beautiful sentence.
He is the kind of person that figures out what his values are, and he takes them personally, and that's why he's involved in the writer series. I think it was really Doug and Anne Stanton, of course, but also Grant Parsons. It was their interest that led to this creation of the National Writers Series and the Front Street Writers Program, with an interest to bring more culture to Traverse City and also use that specifically to benefit educational mission.
The Writers Series, his appearance at the Writers Series was really the first one, and it wasn't thought of as starting a series. But you walk out on stage and there's 750 people there, and you go, wow, if people will come out for a book, maybe they'll do it again.
They take their craft personally, and they take our community personally. So when you take the personal commitment of gifted, accomplished, well-connected individuals, and their personal commitment is to further the cause and the outcome of creative writing, the impact that it has, and to pull it off in their own small community, that's really remarkable, and you're hard-pressed to find other places that do things like that.
They're both writers, and so they bring in their other good writers.
Around the country, there are a lot of book events, there are a lot of readings, and there are some interviews that's kind of coming along. But what they do here very differently is, I don't think anybody since Dick Cavett has interviewed like Doug Stanton interviews, and he sets a tone.
But I know the Midwest is important to you, that it's not flyover country, as it isn't for all of us listening as well.
But he brings something out of writers because Doug is a really genuine human being. And so, in the face of anybody, he's very disarming in that way. He gets you to talk about things that you might not normally talk about in a public venue. And writers open up.
And I was lucky enough that I grew up in a place where stories were a very worthwhile thing.
You want to know what they've created? They've created magic on the stage over books. In addition to bringing these incredible celebrity writers into town, the way to use that is to inspire young writers. And that really has informed Doug and Anne in pretty much everything they've done since. We have the events, we raise a consciousness about the books, we try to sell a lot of books, and then the proceeds and the inspiration goes into the Front Street Writers Program. And it is an incubator for young writers.
It's a creative writing program that focuses on poetry, fiction, and journalism. And it's immersive.
So Front Street Writers, my oldest daughter went to Front Street Writers, and my second daughter's now there. And it's an amazing program. They're exposed to genres of writing that they've never done before. They're asked to read things they've never read before. And so the children grow in the Front Street Writers program, not just as writers, but they grow as people. Literacy is power. The more that people understand and are able to communicate, the better they are able to get along with other people, the better we are able to solve our problems and to make a better world.
They work really hard to give back to the community, and I think that's at the heart of what they want to do. They aren't in it for themselves, they're in it to make something better in Traverse City, in the surrounding area. Their hearts are with their work. You know, there's I can't remember who it was that said, work is love made visible. That's them. Work is love made visible.